welcome back to another episode of Into the 99, where we've got 99 cards, because Commander's number one. I am one of your hosts, Daniel. I've got Sherman, Slothy, Brian with me. Slothy, how you doing this weekend?
Oh, I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been ages since we've seen you. I miss you.
Miss you too. It's good to be back.
There we go. Yeah, well, welcome back. Welcome back. I hope it was a good week for you. Brian, how are you doing?
Oh, excellent. It's been a wonderful week off.
I was going to say, how was your relaxing week?
Good. Actually, quite productive. I'm really enjoying the time.
There you go. And Sherman, how are you doing?
Pretty good overall. This week's been very up and down, but I'm glad that we are all together again. And Daniel, how about yourself?
This was a short week for me for once, so I'm pretty happy. I got a lot of things done myself. I finished the studio stuff. I'll probably put some pictures up eventually, but I put it up on the Patreon. People got to see what it looks like. So come join Patreon.
I was gonna say Sherman feels a lot better now after he ranted for the last 20 minutes.
We got some more stories for sure.
I will not put the listeners to suffer what I had to rant about. But anyways.
But like Daniel was saying, join Patreon and come and listen to our woes in real life.
Yeah, if you, I guess that's one of the benefits of Patreon is you can jump into the chat and you can hear us pre-show vamp. We generally do a decent little pre-show here. Maybe we should start recording the pre-show for the Patreon people, but then then we get canceled. No.
Yeah, some of the topics. Yeah, let's keep it not recorded.
Yeah, who knew Brian was so full of hate?
He's the real hate bear. Yeah, Daniel's just the cuddly koala.
He sounds so friendly. On this week's episode, we have interesting concept, and it's deck tech sa with an S. Talking a little bit about the Great Magic Freeze, like we did before. It's kind of not wonderful to want to keep buying stuff from Wizards right now for everyone, right? And this card that I wanted to build with is just really expensive. It's just a really expensive card. But I like making decks and I can't stop myself. So my solution was to build 5 decks with it. But hear me out. So this is...
you had the versatility here.
Yeah, so for once we're not starting with the commander, because this is kind of the pseudo commander of all these decks. And they all share it. So I've just bought a giant set of sleeves that all share a color. And I just pull these cards and one other section out of the list, and that's my deck. Easy peasy. So, it's Slime Against Humanity. I put up in the chat, what do you guys think I should build? I got lots of really good answers. A lot of answers on it, actually. Lots of private DMs, lots of comments. So we went with a few of these options. So Slime Against Humanity, for anyone who doesn't know, is just a killer common from the newest set, the Karlov murder stuff. It's 2 and a green. You create a 0/0 green ooze creature token with trample. First off, that's great. You already have the built-in thing you need to overrun your friends. We don't have to worry about adds, trample. We don't need none of the shenanigans. You have as many creatures as you want. I'm rolling over you with slimes. Slime City. Slime time. Then you put...
You didn't do it right. You didn't do it right.
What, Slime City?
There you go. Thank you.
There you go. All right. So you put X11 counters on it, where X is 2 plus the total number of cards you own in exile and in your graveyard that are oozes and or are named Slammed Against Humanity. A deck can have any number of them. This is awesome because, generally speaking, you stop this nonsense with a Bajuka Bog. Bajuka Bog me away. It still just keeps going from the exile zone, right? So more than half of these decks are all going to be Slime Against Humanity because they're just killer. It's
How
just
many of them?
Yeah. So this setup of sets runs 35 Slime Against Humanities, and they are by far the most expensive part of these decks. They're $5 a card.
$5 card.
$5 card. It's pretty silly.
It really seems that all these can have any number of cards named X. Just get ridiculous in price really fast.
That's because Commander players are animals.
Yeah.
Well, if
Daniel's like the Calgary Predator. Actually, I probably
wow. First off, I don't think I am.
Ayo, pause.
The Calgary MTG Predator.
That still sounds terrible. I don't condone this.
Okay, come on. Card hawk.
Whew. Like I said, Brian is full of hate today.
Okay, there you go. You're getting your moments out of this episode already, Daniel.
All right. Whew. But yeah, so anyways, like Slime Against Humanity, it's because if you want to build a commander deck, right? Normally we buy one off of a card and that's it. But in this deck, we need 35 of them. And if I was making 5 lists, it's too many cards. There's too many. What's that, like 80 or 90 cards? Is it? Something like that. It's too many. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be gross. I wouldn't enjoy that.
And the kind of cool thing, I don't know if I told the other two, but I did share them with Daniel. Actually, I shared it in our Snapchat. One of our actual local listeners heard of Daniel's idea, and he went out and built his own version of the Slime Against Humanity build.
It's such a bummer too, because when I was making these lists, I was like, that's one of the only ones I didn't put together.
It was Rayhan and
Slurk.
I can't remember the partner.
I think it was Rayhan Slurk or something. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Again, that would be a cool one. So we'll jump into this the list. So like I said, the whole concept of this is that you just buy sleeves that share a color. You just change them over. We all build a lot of commander decks and stuff, and not everyone needs that many soul rings, right? So it's kind of nice to be able to interchange some of your decks. I never do, and this is kind of nice. So it's just one huge row in my box, 5 decks, all that share colors, organized, and then the commanders are different colors, so I can tell which pile is which.
And this is kind of like a call out to the olden days of Lotus, where she had one copy of every single card and she would kind of put them all together. And I have also seen some other players that have several commanders and they shuffle. They have all of their decks in all the same sleeves, and they take their time and they figure out which deck they want to play.
That's kind of cool.
Those cards. Yeah. So one way of being budget, right, is saving money, things like that, having a single copy. But I guess the downside is that you are going to have to take time to pull them out, rebuild that deck, and then go.
The nice thing about this is so I don't have the land bases in here. The land bases are, to be honest, pretty budget. A lot of them are just basic and tap duels for me. Evolving Wilds kind of things. Like you don't need, again, I'm just trying to cast slimes, right? So it doesn't need to be my craziest deck. I don't need to be like, all right, so anyways, I underground C into my deck that's playing all commons, right? A fun way as well is what I also kind of want to do is to make a I want to do this with you guys, is all of us grab a random of these decks, like the shrunk down lists, and then we all share one big graveyard for the slimes, and we all can draw from the slime pile or our own pile, so we're all playing slimes.
That could be
okay.
It could be fun. I thought it'd be a little bit of an entertaining thing. But yeah, so like I said, the benefits of the slimes are they already have trample, which is awesome. They start at a 2/2 and they just continue to grow from there. Exiling them from my graveyard doesn't stop it, and them being in my graveyard doesn't stop it, right? There's not really if you hit me with a can't cast that spell, sure, that's going to stop it. That'll stop it right in its tracks. I'll tell you that right now.
No.
But yeah, so we'll go into I have a few of them that all share the same. So the first section is just all of these decks include the following cards. So whoever wants to start us off, I'll start us off. It's an Arcane Signet. Again, Arcane Signet, easy ramp, 2 mana, 1 mana of your commander's identity. Pretty great card to put in all of them.
I'll grab that next card here. We got Armor Craft Judge, 3 and a green, creature elf artificer. When Armor Craft Judge enters the battlefield, draw a card for each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it, and it is a 3/3.
And then we got your classic Commander Sphere for 3 mana. So tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity, and you can sacrifice it to draw a card.
Then after that, we've got the Idol of Oblivion. 2 mana for an artifact. You can tap and draw a card. Activate only if you create a token this turn. And you can pay 8 and tap it to sacrifice the idol and create a 10/10 colorless Eldrazi creature token.
Yeah, that one we're just straight
Nice.
raw
Nice
using that one to just draw, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We also have one of my favorite cards just in any token or counters matter deck is Cameo the Whispered Hopes. 2 and a green for a 1/1 spirit. If one or more 1/1 counters will be put on a permanent or player, you control, that many +1 are put on instead. And add X1 where it's Cammy's Hope. So again, it's increasing every one of our cards that we're doing and its ramp.
So good. It's such a good card. The next card that we do have is a Mind Stone, 2 colorless. Tap to add 1 colorless, or you can pay 1 to tap it to sacrifice the Mind Stone to draw a card.
And then we got a Naturalize for 1 and a green. Instant. Destroy target artifact or enchantment.
I'm personally taking this as a win. This means I have 5 Naturalizes.
Then we've got Nature's Claim. Single green for an instant. You can destroy target artifact or enchantment, and its controller gains 4 life.
Yeah. Easy. We want to have some removal because I don't really play with removal ever.
You've been getting a little
you've been getting better.
But I mean, 2 instead of 0.
Yeah, the more budget stuff I play, the more removal I have to kind of start putting in. But again, those slimes just get out of control. There's not really they all have trample. Yeah, you know what I mean? That doesn't really matter. You could just, what are you going to do? Counterspell it? Okay, guess what I cast? Slime Against Humanity. It's yeah. So the next one we have is Ozolith the Shattered Spire. A normal good Ozolith would also be great in all these decks, but it's like $50 right now. So chill out.
And you sold some.
I sold a lot, also for $50. I was pretty happy with it. I made really quickly just one of the last face-to-faces. I sold like 13 copies of Resplendent Angel. I was like, you know what? I got too many of these. It's okay. And I sold a bunch of them. And then I think the day after, they announced that they were reprinting it in new artwork. I wouldn't have been happy to be the stores that bought those. Yeah. Magic is really wrecking the price for things, but not with this deck. So we have Ozolith 2, the Shattered Spire. 1 in the green for a legendary artifact. If 1 or more 1/1 counters will be put on an artifact or creature you control, that many +1, so an extra 1. And then you can pay 1 in the green, tap it, put a 1/1 counter on target artifact or creature. Oh, so many words. And it has cycling.
Good card.
Yeah.
Then we have the Rampage of the Clans. 3 in a green. Instant. Destroy all artifact and enchantments. I'm already hating you, Daniel. For each permanent destroyed this way, its controller creates a 3/3 green centaur creature token. See? Where are centaurs? You already have a board wipe that creates centaurs.
True. I'm sure there's centaur creatures somewhere.
Nikia?
Yeah, exactly.
Nikia is a great commander.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this I really like that we're not really running that many in this, and sometimes you just have to get through regardless of who you are. Some people play Pillow Fort. There's just you're not going to get through all of a lot of times people have like you can't target. I got a Sterling Grove out. He. Well, too bad. The only downside of Rampage...
I have comments, but I'm not... we like to keep the show clean.
You called me a predator at the beginning of this. Jeez. The only downside to Rampage of the Clans is with how prevalent treasure tokens are right now, you might really get hurt with this one. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
If someone's going Smothering Ties and you have someone, I don't know what kind of animal would do this, but let's say someone hasn't played any of the Smothering Tie attacks ever in his whole life. Yeah, maybe. But yes, let's say that someone, I don't know who, it's me, but hasn't paid it. Then there's a lot. So you can really get cracked with 3/3s in this. Let's just be chill with what we do with it.
All right. We got Rishkar, Pima Renegade, 2 in green. Legendary creature, Elf Druid, 2/2. When Rishkar enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 creatures. And each creature you control with a counter on it has add a green mana.
Of course.
It's really good ramp.
Yeah.
It's really, really good ramp in this deck. I'll tell you that right now. If
I love Rishkar.
Yeah, if like...
Oh,
you go ahead, Cole.
No, I was just saying, like, I like the fact that they designed Rich card where it says like each creature you control with a counter on it. It doesn't say it has to be a +1/+1 counter. It can be any counter. It can be
Yeah.
a shield counter, menace counter, whatever. It doesn't matter.
One of the new rad counters.
True.
Ooh.
I really, like I said, more than half the deck is slimes. So this turns more than half of our deck into ramp.
Then we've got. Oh, I don't think I've seen this card before. We got Sol Ring, 1 mana to tap add 2.
Did you see, really quickly to interrupt, did you see that the Magic Instagram posted like a thing across all the platforms? And they're just like, that face when you draw the turn 1 Soul Ring, but they spelled it SOUL. And it's just like comment after comment of it's just like, how would you hire a social media guy who can't even spell your most prevalent card? Like everyone's just like, does your new Ring of the Soul cost $999? People are rough. People are rough on that social media guy. It was a pretty funny mistake though.
To be fair, you should have hired someone that knows your stuff.
Yeah, that's
that would make sense.
If you're like misspelling that like Asmoranda blah 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 Bractos card, sure, I'll give you that one. I'll let you that one slide. But yeah, and then our final one in this all decks is Thought Vessel. Just because it's 2 mana ramp, we're not really drawing a ton in this deck, but it's like $1 as a 2 mana ramp, and I think it's a nice card to include across all of them as some cheap ramp. So the Samurai Starfish is you have no maximum hand size and you add a colorless. Yeah.
Samurai Starfish.
All right, now we get into our individual different commanders that we started building. So the first one is going to be Jadzi. So for anyone who doesn't know what Jadzi is, and then we'll go into our Jadzi list. Jadzi is a flip commander from Strixhaven. Legendary creature, human wizard, and this is a beefy one to cast. 6 double blue for a 5/5. Yikes. Jadzi has discard a card, return it to its hand, which is pretty awesome because we don't care about discarding our slimes. The slimes are in the graveyard, still trigger the rest of them. So we can save Jadzi really, really easy without downside. Jadzi also has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a non-land, you may cast it by paying 1 rather than its mana cost. And if it's a land, put it onto the battlefield. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So we can just do that. And it's whenever you cast or copy, you may cast. So you can continue to go through with Jadzi as long as you have mana. If you've got, like, let's say you have 5 mana left over after your first slime, and you hit 5 slimes in a row, you can just pay 5 to cast all 5 of them. Jadzi is a great commander for casting these out. The flip side is you may put any number of lands from your hand onto the battlefield. Then if you control 8 or more lands, you may discard a card. If you do, return Journey to the Oracle to its owner's hand. So again, if our hand is full of lands for some reason, we can dump them all back in, no problem. You could easily Storm Cauldron in this deck, but you don't want to do that. It's mean. And just like I said, the fact that we can both sides bring it back with a discard. We've got 35 cards we don't care about discarding. Pretty easy. Let's start into the list. This section of the list, to build the Jadzi section minus the slimes. Again, the slimes are the expensive part of the deck. To build the Jadzi section without the slimes is $77.
It's like a $300 minimum ish with this.
No,
because 35 times 5. I'm terrible with math. I'm assuming it's like $150.
Yeah, the slimes are $174.
Yeah, 70. So 2 something.
Yeah, 240.
300's not off.
Yeah,
I round up.
About 250 before lands.
But you're getting 5 times the value of them because you're using them in 5 decks.
True.
All you have to do is be willing to build 5 decks, and these are pretty budget cards when you look at it that way. Yeah. All right, Brian, take our first one in our Jadzi list.
All right, so we have Archmage Emeritus, which I was accidentally showing as it was the first card in your list. So I was like, this must be the commander. I was wrong. So it's 2 and 2 blue. Creature, human wizard, Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card, and it's a 2/2.
Easy.
Solid card draw right there.
Yep. And then you got one of the new cards here, Case of the Ransacked Lab for 2 and a blue. The enchantment Case. instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. To solve, you've cast 4 or more instant and sorcery spells this turn. And when it has been solved, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card.
Daniel, we're not drawing in this.
Oh, well, this is one of them. There's one deck that has blue, and it does draw a bit. But we're mostly running this for that cost reduction, turning our slimes into 2-mana monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Also, most of these decks don't, like, in the normal thing, these are all green decks, right? I'd put Cultivate in all of them. I tried to not include the same cards in the decks as much as I could. So I tried to leave it as open to different things. So our only Cultivate in this list is in this deck. Yeah, I guess I'll take it. Cultivate. 2 and a green. Search your library for 2 basic lands, reveal and put one on the battlefield, tap the other into your hand. You guys get it. Sherman, you take the next one.
Elven Chorus. 3 and a green. An enchantment. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. I already love that. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. I love it even more. Creatures you control add 1 mana of any color when you tap it.
Amazing.
I like that this card's come down in price.
Yep.
How much did it used to be?
Oh, it was way up at like 10, 15.
I think, yeah, like it was like $15 when we were at the Lord of the Rings face-to-face thing.
I'm still sitting with a foil one. I'm still sitting with a foil one.
Nice.
I don't want to give it up.
Nice.
It's just a really nice card. It's really nice artwork. Yeah. But again, in our it's not non-token creatures, right? So it's tons of ramp, and it's letting us have that top deck knowledge of what we're casting when we hit that jazzy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we can, like with this Case of the Ransacked Lab, for instance, right? Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery draw, well, we can now look at the top card and know that the top is a land. We don't want to hit that land, so we'll resolve that draw first. Yeah.
The next one we've got here is Explosive Vegetation. 3 and a green for a sorcery. You can search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle.
Yeah, again, our commander's like 8, so we need a lot of ramp in this deck.
Yeah.
We've got a Harrow, 2 and a green for an additional cost to cast it. You sack a land, search your library for up to 2 basic lands, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle. No problem there. Brian?
I'm just getting caught back up again. Here we go.
Okay.
So we are on to a... Show my card, please. There we go. Inexorable Tide. 3 and 2 blue for an enchantment. Whenever you cast a spell, proliferate. I did not see this card.
Oh, yeah, this is an old one. It's
oldie about a goldie.
Yeah, it does a lot of work in a deck that only makes creatures with tokens, or creatures with counters.
This one also just got a reprint.
Did it? That's good. It's a pricey card.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good card though. It's with Atraxa being so expensive, right? Was so popular, then there's no way to not have that, you know?
Always popular.
Yeah.
She's number 1. Ooh, this next card is fun.
Number 1, Sherman.
Oh, thank you so much. We have Kodama of the West Tree for 2 and a green. It is a legendary creature spirit. That's a 3/3. It has reach. Modified creatures you control have trample. We already have trample, though.
True.
When a modified creature you control deals combat damage to a player, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Yay!
Ramp City here with Dan.
I need to make a Ramp City button.
Ramp City!
Yeah, you get it.
Then, speaking of Kodama and her having reach, we've got Kodama's reach. 2 and a green for a sorcery arcane. Search library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal them, put one onto the battlefield tapped, the other into your hand, and then shuffle.
I don't want to.
Well, then don't.
The next one on this list is so fun to play. I love this deck that I have as a raw deck of it. We have Lear, Disciple of the Drowned. 3 double blue for a 3/4 human wizard. Spells can't be countered. We love to see that. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback. The flashback cost is equal to that card's mana cost. So again, we've got double access to our cards, and them going to exile does not matter.
That's It's interesting. All right.
Yeah,
That's a great card.
it's very, very cool in the deck. I really, really like this deck in general. It's very fun to have can't be countered on the field, especially in a control heavy meta.
It's
Our
so hard
meta?
to find.
No,
Who's meta?
No, I said especially in a control heavy meta. It's fun to have. I didn't
Yeah, I
say
was just saying, is that us?
No, no.
I don't.
That's Dean.
I know Sherman at Slothy. Yeah. Sherman and his
Hey, what do you-
off-color counters.
Sherman has interesting counters, at least, though.
That's true.
That's true. I tend to play like weird counters from time to time.
He'd getting hit with red counters. I was like, get out of here. But enough of that. We got Memnonic?
Mnemonic.
Yeah. Mnemonic Deluge. 8 and 3 blue.
No, six.
Sorcery.
6/3
What?
blue.
6 and 3 blue.
It's not that crazy expensive. Jeez.
8 and 3 blues. I tell you the price. No, it's exile a target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard. Copy that card 3 times. Oh, this could be fun. You may cast the copies without paying their mana cost. Exile Mnemonic Deluge.
There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that one, right? Like you can obviously hit your Slime Against Humanity, the main thing we're doing, and it going to exile, like I've repeatedly said, doesn't matter. But you can also hit this on like an Explosive Vegetation or something like that, and then just ramp 6 more mana into your deck, and take 6 more lands out of your your deck, so that you're more likely to hit those Jadzy one-off triggers. And again, we can also cast this potentially for 1 mana off the top of our library with Jadzy out,
Mm-hmm.
which you love to see.
The next card we have is one of my favorites, Mystic Forge. For 4 mana, as an artifact, you may look at the top card of your library at any time. I love that, like usual. You may cast artifact spells and colorless spells from the top of the library, and you can tap, pay 1 life, exile the top card of your library.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah.
just that top deck control of what we have to hit with Jadzy.
I've seen your top deck manipulation.
Yeah, it's usually other people's top deck.
Then we've got O'Hare Pakpatik, Deepest Epoch. 2 double blue for a 4/3 legendary creature god. It's got flying. Whenever you cast an instant spell from your hand, it gains rebound. And when O'Hare Pakpatik dies, return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control with 3 time counters on it.
Do you
And
know what?
then-
That's sorry. That's
No, go
probably
ahead.
the right pronunciation, O'Hare, where I've just been calling it Oger. Like probably like
True. We need Slothy on the
Uh,
pronunciations. The rebound is really cool because again, we're doubling up our cards, and rebound exiles it, and exile doesn't matter.
Yeah, then it flips over to Temple of Cyclical Time. It's a land. You can tap to add blue and remove a time counter from it. Or you can pay 2 and a blue and tap it to transform it and activate only if it has no time counters on it, and only as a sorcery.
Boo, boo, sorceries, boo.
right?
This would be a fun commander to build just as a raw. I didn't buy like any Ixalan, basically, just a few cards I wanted to build as decks, like Aneem and stuff like that. But this would have been a really fun one to pull and like build around. So I may one day make a deck of just this. I might do that whole cycle of individual decks. They're all pretty cool.
The white one, triple counters. Let's go.
Yeah, right.
Or triple tokens, sorry.
Triple tokens.
We also have a precognition field, 3 and a blue. You may look at the top card of your library. We want to do that. You may cast the top card of your library if it's an instant sorcery. We do definitely want to do that so we can get our stuff going. And pay 3, exile the top card of your library.
I like it. Then we have Quandrix's Apprentice. Green and a blue. Creature, human, wizard. Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, look at the top 3 cards of your library, and then you may reveal a land card from among them and put that card into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order, and it's a 2/2.
Yeah.
That symbol on the back.
Right. Now we got the Ripples of Potential for 1 in a blue, and it's an instant spell. Proliferate. Then choose any number of permanents you control to have a counter put on them this way. Those permanents phase out.
I like that one a lot.
That's a fun card.
Then we've got the Sprouting Vines. 2 in a green for an instant. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle, and it has Storm.
Don't like that.
This is a fun one because if other people are storming off, you can just get a ton of land to your hand, and we have our commander can. You got to remember, right? If we Sprouting Vines, all we have to do is just throw one card away, and we can put our commander back into our hand, cast the backside for that 4, and dump every land in our hand into play, and then put it back in, right? So it's definitely pretty cool. But the fact that we can thin our deck out of basic lands, this list is all basics, basically.
Yeah.
Basics, basically. They all have a Karn's Bastion, too. The Proliferate land is just too good to not include in the whole list.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then the last one on this list is Swarm Intelligence. 6 and a blue. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you may copy it. You may choose new targets. I promise you, every time we cast an instant or sorcery in this deck, we are copying it. There is no you may. I want to do it every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that is Jadzy. Deck 1 complete. Look at us go.
Just going to flip the Karn Bastion so everybody can see. So that's a tap, add 1 colorless, pay 4, tap to proliferate.
Yeah, I like Karn's Bastion a lot. Our next commander of our list that I've built is Shalai and Halar. Because, I mean, come on. It's pretty great. Shalai and Halar is 1/1 red, 1 green, 1 white. So 4 mana commander, 3/3 angel elf flying vigilance. Pretty good stats. Whenever 1 or more 1/1 counters are put on a creature you control, Shalai and Halar deals that much damage to target opponent. So in this version of the deck, we now have 35 minimum instants that are like bursting for a minimum of 2 damage every time we cast them. That's pretty crazy.
Shalai and Halar is so good. Like, so good.
Yeah. It's nice that it's to target opponent, not each opponent, because, wow, it's already kind of removal bait, but...
Dan saw Shalai and Halar, and he had to make some tough decisions.
I love Shalai and Halar. I think it's just a really, really cool deck. If you want a not budget version of this, again, obviously Ozolith and All Will Be One. But these are decks...
the Red Terror.
I was going to say, these are decks I actually built, and I can't find that card anywhere.
Which one?
All Will Be One. There's like none in stock ever.
I may have 1 or 2. I may be able to.
It's too strong. It's too strong. It's so good in so many decks.
It's really good. But I just really like I said, the whole point of the deck is making these creatures that just get increasingly bigger. So they turn what we're already doing into just ramping damage, right? Even without our commander on the field, we're still wanting to cast these. But with these out, it's just, 2 damage, then 3 damage, then 4 damage, then 5 damage. And that really, really does build up over time. Yeah. Brian, I'll let you jump into our Shalai and Halar list.
Sure.
Oh, and the Shalai and Halar section is $85. All right.
And it's already starting with a banger. We got Abzan Falconer, 2 and a white. That bird looks so much bigger than him. But Outlast, 1 white. Tap, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Outlast only as a sorcery. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has flying, and it's a 2/3.
Pretty good.
Flying Ooze City.
Flying Slimes?
Yeah.
I don't know how much I like that.
Sorry?
So I don't know how much I like about Flying Slime.
Next, we have Branching Evolution for 2 and a green. It's an enchantment. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature you control, twice that many +1/+1 counters are put on that creature instead.
I didn't even know that they reprinted this.
They sure did, with really cool artwork.
Like, yeah, this is awesome. I need it. I need it in my life.
Yeah, that's a really great reprint.
They're reprinting that one in Fallout as well, and the art on that is great as well.
But is it dinosaurs?
Oh, you'll just have to look.
True. Brian's only interested if it's dinosaurs, though.
The case could be made.
Oh, fair. All right.
We'll have to wait and see.
Next one we've got here is a banger if you love to do math. We've got Cathar's Crusade, 3 double white for an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control.
In Shalai and Halar, you should just say, I cast This Is Going to Hurt.
I cast pain.
Yeah, Cathar's Crusade is an absolute menace. We've got the...
And you are right, Slothy. I took it out because I got to a point where I was like, do you know what? There's a point when you hit too many +1/+1s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then you got to keep track of so many different things.
Yeah, a lot of I gotta in this deck section. I also have to pack a ton of like D6s.
No, you don't. You got Brian.
I don't know if you got enough for this. We've got Conclave Mentor, 1 green, 1 white for a 2/2 Centaur Cleric. Brian, Centaur.
Where's my lord? Where's my Centaur Matters commander?
If 1 or more 1/1 counters would be put on a creature you control, that many +1 are put on instead. When it dies, you gain life equal to its power. We just want more 1/1s, yeah.
This is how you leave a conversation?
Yeah.
Yep, sure is.
Yeah. I didn't realize this one was so expensive. You could definitely budget this deck down if you take the next card out. I didn't realize it was that. I just bought a bunch of them on release.
Yeah, it definitely went up. I was happy to pull it from some collector's boxes. So this one we have here is Court of Garenbrig, 1, 2 green enchantment. When Court of Garenbrig enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among up to 2 target creatures. Then if you are the monarch, double the number of +1/+1 counters on each creature you control.
It's gross. Pretty gross.
That is really gross in this deck.
Mm-hmm.
That's so gross.
Read it and weep. Unless you can take the monarch.
We have Death's Presence for 5 and a green. Oh, it's an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control dies, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the power of the creature that died.
Remove me.
Oh, that's a lot of
you.
counters.
Yeah.
Gross.
Then we've got Evolution Sage, 2 and a green for a 3/2 elf druid with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you proliferate.
Yeah.
There's too much proliferating here.
Forgotten Ancient is just too good to not leave in this deck. It just turns every time a opponent or you cast a spell 1 damage minimum to someone who's wronged you in life. Forgotten Ancient, 3 and a green. Whenever a player casts a spell, it's a 0/3 elemental. Whenever a player casts a spell, you may put a 1/1 counter on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may move any number of 1/1 counters from it onto other creatures, which is crazy. It does a lot. And if you have like the Conclave out, like something like that Conclave Mentor or a Hardened Scales, anything like that, you can just move 1 because it's onto other creatures. It doesn't have to be 1. You can just put it all across like 1 on each, and then here's 1/1 times 2 times. This is a math deck.
No, I don't like math. We got the Hinder Vines, 2 and a green, instant prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn by creatures with no +1/+1 counters on them. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
We got Invigorating Surge for 2 and a green. Instant. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then double the number of +1/+1 counters on that creature. Ow.
I cast Ouch.
That is a big ouch.
Next up, we've got Keen Sense, single green for an aura. You can enchant creature. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card.
Yeah.
That's real good.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this next one a lot. It's a fun alternate win in a deck like this. We've got Miles Aria. One, I was going to say blue. No blue in here. 1 red, 1 green, 1 white. And it's an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control if you control a creature with power 5 or greater. That's super easy to hit.
Yep.
Then you gain 10 life if you control a creature with power 10 or greater. That's pretty phenomenal life gain passively. And if you control a creature with power 20 or greater, you win the game. And when we've got the ability to like instant speed, invigorating surge, double the counters on something, we can hit that win pretty easy, right?
Yeah, you basically just have to get to what, 9?
Yeah, 9 and an invigorating surge, which is not that many. That's like 7 of our ooze cards.
Mm-hmm.
Ooze.
Have I shown you my ooh?
I don't think that's appropriate, Brian.
No.
This is a family show, Brian.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut myself here, guys. Bye. All right, so we got her resourceful defense. See, I put up my defense card here, guys. I got 2 and a white. Enchantment. Whenever a permanent you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on target permanent you control. I have not seen this card before.
Pretty good.
4 and a white, move any number of counters from target permanent you control to another target permanent you control.
In Shalai and Halar especially, that's just disgusting.
I move 2 counters, I deal 2 damage.
Yeah. It's definitely cool. A really nice thing as well is that it's on target permanent. So even if I get board wiped, I can put like 50 +1/+1 counters on resourceful defense.
Like a beefy lamb.
Well, on anything, right? I can leave it on this resourceful defense, then cast Shalai and Halar again and pay 5 and move 50 counters to Shalai and Halar and take vengeance. Revenge.
I deal 50 damage to Jesse's Land of War.
There you go. Yeah, you get it.
Just before we move on, because we passed the letter, I'm surprised that there's not a Tauren Mauler.
Tauren Mauler's good. I just, again,
can't find it.
Yeah.
Or don't have a copy.
Well, yeah. These are just what I built. I don't have more Roselets.
We have a Ruinous Intrusion for 3 and a green. It's an instant. Exile target artifact or enchantment. Put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the mana value of the permanent exiled this way.
That's just insulting in this deck. You play something I don't like, I blast it off the field, and then blast you with that damage as well. And exile.
Then we've got the Snake Umbra, 2 and a green for an aura, enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has, whenever this creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. And then it has totem armor.
Nice.
I like totem armor.
Solidarity of Heroes is a card that just goes disgusting in this deck. And again, all of these decks are running a Rishkar, right? So all of our things are they've got mana tap ability, right? Like our creatures. We've got Solidarity of Heroes though. 1 and a green. Strive. The spell costs 1 and a green more for each target beyond the first. Choose any number of target creatures. Double the number of 1/1 counters on them. That's again a disgusting card in a bolt everything deck.
Yes, Daniel, our creatures are tappable.
Oh, they're tappable. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's funny. I'm sorry. All right, we got, I do enjoy this card. We got Uncivil Unrest, 4 and a red. Non-token creatures you control have Riot. If a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that much damage instead. Read it and weep. Rude awakening, people.
Yeah, it's pretty great that these have trample already.
And then we got Visions of Dominance for 2 and a green. Sorcery. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, then double the number of +1/+1 counters on it. It has flashback for 8 and 2 green. And this spell costs X less to cast this way, where X is the greatest mana value of a commander you own on the battlefield or in the command zone. So it's going to be reduced by 4?
Yeah, so 6 for us.
Ooh, it's not bad.
Baby Gitrog.
A great double up. Sweet.
This is a scary deck.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was going to say the Shalai and Halar version seems like it's got a lot of potential with these slimes because, again, they're all bolting, right? And just the amount of cards that you can just double, like turn. If the slimes didn't have trample, they'd still be kind of a problem, right? They'd still be pretty big. But just the fact that you can, like, again, if you've cast your 7th of these slimes in a game, that's not a crazy number to get to if you have 35 of a copy. Yeah, that's a 9/9. And for 3 mana, we make that an 18/18 trampler. Gross. Right.
I was going to mention, we didn't need this card in the deck, Visions of Dominance. Daniel, you were already showing us the dominance as you went through the deck list.
The dominance. Yeah, so that's deck list number 2. Again, we are killing it today. Everyone's getting this is a 5 episode, by the way. Just buckle up because there's a lot more. So our next commander pairing is we've got Slurk All Ingesting and Krark. So let me read Slurk. 5 and a green. It's an ooze, which is pretty cool. Slurk All Ingesting enters with 5/1 counters on it. Great. Whenever Slurk or another creature you control dies, if it had a 1/1 counter on it, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control that has a 1/1 counter. That is a really gross ability.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big problem. It's a real big problem. And then we have Krark the Thumbless, which is the real reason we're running the deck. 1 in a red, Goblin Wizard 2/2. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you flip a coin. If you lose the flip, return the spell to its owner's hand. If you win the flip, copy that spell. You can choose new targets for the copy. That is brutal.
And that's why we want it.
Yeah. So let's jump into the start of our Krark list as a $74 version of the deck.
All right, so starting us off, we have Arcane Bombardment, 4 and 2 red. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, exile an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard, then copy each card exiled with Arcane Bombardment. You may cast any number of the copies without paying their mana cost.
The slimes.
Wow.
The slimes don't care about being exiled. That's pretty good. I exile 6 slimes. I make 6. I make what's that? 8s. That would be 6 8/8s every time I cast an instant or sorcery on a turn. Okay. All right. Let's calm down.
Gotta practice what you preach.
That's a sick card. Sorry, I'm still trying to get over that. That's such a sick card.
The Bombardment's so fun. It's like my favorite card to play on Arena. I play it dirtily on Arena so much that most people just quit the game. They're just like, all right, I get it. You win. Great job, man.
All right, we got Chance Encounter for 2 and a red. Enchantment. Whenever you win a coin flip, put a luck counter on Chance Encounter. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Chance Encounter has 10 or more luck counters on it, you win the game.
Pretty good.
Okay. Then we've got our Chaos Warp. 2 in a red for an instant. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent card, they put it onto the battlefield.
That's great, especially with like copies of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because we got to remember, we're trying to copy every one of these spells with that Krark. We're kind of hoping that we are good at coin flipping. We've got Fiery Gambit as the next
in your
one.
favor.
Yeah. So one moment here. All right, there we go. Fiery Gambit is our next one. So 2 and a red. Flip a coin until you lose a flip or choose to stop flipping. Again, I just like to flip coins. If you lose a flip, Fiery Gambit has no effect. If you win 1 or more flips, Fiery Gambit deals to target creature. If you win 2 or more flips, Fiery Gambit deals 6 damage to each opponent. That's big. And if you win 3 or more flips, draw 9 cards and untap all lands you control. I like it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And as well, like we can, if we lose our first flip, it just comes back to our hand for us to continue to try do it again. If we win it, we get 2 copies of it and we get a really let's flip a lot of coins.
The next card that we do have here is always a good one, Goblin Heart. Anarchaeomancer, green and a red for Goblin Shaman. Each spell you cast that's red or green costs 1 less to cast, and it's a 2/2.
Pretty good.
All your spells costing less? Yeah, they're so good.
Getting those slimes down to a 2 mana. Ooh.
Then we got Harmonic Prodigy for 1 and a red. He's a human wizard for a 1/3. It has prowess. So whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn. And if an ability of a shaman or another wizard you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time.
Extra Krark triggers.
Yeah, you get it. We have our Jaheira, Friend of the Forest. 2 and a green tokens you control have tap for a green with choose a background. We're not choosing a background. Human Elf Druid. We're gonna miss a lot of these flips. I'm gonna be honest with everyone here. I'm gonna not oversell this deck. We're gonna miss a lot of flips, and we want we're gonna need some mana to keep that going. Double or nothing. We have to play this deck like gambling addicts. Just double down.
That's fun.
One way to kind of help with losing a lot of flips is Krark's Thumb. 2 mana for legendary artifact. If you'd flip a coin, instead flip 2 coins and ignore 1. So you're giving yourself advantage with coin flipping.
Cheating.
Cheating.
Let's go. Brian, you take the next one.
Yeah, the next one we have here is Life's Legacy. It's a 1 and a green. As an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a creature. Draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power.
A nice thing. If we sack a creature, that's part of the initial cast. So if we get our copy off, we don't have to sack 2 creatures, which is great. Downside. If we don't get our copy off, we've sacked a creature for nothing.
2 mana, sacrifice a creature.
That hurts.
It is what it is. We're gambling here. It's all good. All right. We got Locket of Yesterdays. It's for 1 mana. It's an artifact. Spells you play cost 1 less to play for each card with the same name as a spell in your graveyard. Fantastic. Fantastic card.
I love
That's really good, actually.
Slavi.
Yeah, I quite enjoy this one. We've got Mizzix's Mastery. 3 and a red for a sorcery. Exile target card that's an instant sorcery from your graveyard. For each card exiled this way, copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost and exile Mizzix's Mastery. And it's got Overload for 5 and triple red. The fact that these slimes don't care about being exiled makes this card so much better as well.
If you
better than it already is.
If you end up exiling like 10 of these and casting 10, you're making 10, 12, 12s. That's gross.
Yeah.
I love it a lot. We have a Primal Amulet as well. 4 mana. Instant sorceries you cast are 1 less. Great. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, put a charge counter on it. Then if there are 4 or more counters on it, you may remove those and transform it. Transforms into Primal Wellspring, which is a land. Add 1 mana of any color to your pool. When that mana is spent to cast an instant or sorcery, you copy it and choose new targets.
Pretty good.
We really want that Wellspring.
To be honest, it's just a way to get around me being bad at flipping coins.
And the flip side.
Oh, yeah, no, I read the flip side. That's the land, the Primal Wellspring.
Oh.
Yeah.
Then we have Pyromancer's Ascension. 1 and a red whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that has the same name as a card in your graveyard, you may put a quest counter on Pyromancer Ascension. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell while Pyromancer's Ascension has 2 or more quest counters on it, you may copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. It's a lot of writing.
It's a lot of words. Wordy card, but a lot of copies, a lot of oozes, to be honest.
Ooze.
Oh man, that's
The Ascension?
That's crazy. Just thinking about that. That's so crazy. All right. We got Shamanic Revelation for 3 and a green. Sorcery. Draw a card for each creature you control. And has Ferocious. You gain 4 life for each creature you control with power 4 or greater, which is going to be a lot.
I said that this deck, sorry, Slothy, I got to jump in and take this one. I said this deck is all about gambling and going as hard as you can. We've got a Storm King's Thunder, which, again, we could end up sinking a lot of mana into this and getting wrecked and putting it back into our hand. But if we don't, the payoff is great. Storm King's Thunder is X triple red. Whenever you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy it X times. You may choose new targets for the copy. If we can get this off with a Krark, let's say that we've got 12 mana on deck. We sink 6 into this, and we get a Krark copy off. We're doing great. That means that the next spell we cast is going to be copied 12 times, and then we ooze with our last 3 mana. We cast 12 ooze.
Yeah.
And technically, it'd be really funny. And the nice thing is you copy the spell X times. So I was going to say Krark can't put it back in our hand that way and wreck us. That'd be so funny if it didn't. We put it all back in. We gamble it all. But no, yeah. So if we win with the Krark, that's 13 casts for 12 mana. That's a lot of slimes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Slough, you take this one.
Yeah. We've got the Tavern Scoundrel. 1 in a red for a 1/3 human rogue. Whenever you win a coin flip, you create 2 treasure tokens, and you can pay 1 and tap to sacrifice another permanent to flip a coin.
Yeah.
That scoundrel.
Ideally, great ramp for us. The way I play, not great ramp for us.
Why does he look like Gaston?
He wishes he was Gaston. That guy's got a 6-day-a-week gym regiment for the next 2 years to look like Gaston.
Truth.
I'm going to take the next one too, because it's the artwork on this is me every time I miss a coin flip. It's Tribute to the World Tree. Triple green. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card if its power is 3 or greater, which is a great draw, and then otherwise put 2/1/1 counters on. That's never going to trigger. We're never getting that one, but we're getting a lot of draw. Look at that. Deck list 3. Done. Now we're into our 2 most budget of the list, and the ones I like the most. So the next list is Umori, and this is only $49.71 to build this one. Well, and then $49.71 and then like $150 of slimes. But if you take that out, Umori is an ooze. I'll call all of these decks budget minus slime. These are all budget decks. Sans the slime.
Minus the key cards.
Budget.
Yeah. This is all my decks technically are budget minus duels, budget minus mana crypt.
Budget minus reserve list cards.
Yeah, you guys get it. Honestly, I wholeheartedly think everyone should proxy the Slime Against Humanity card. That's $5 for a common's crazy. That's not a reasonable price.
Yeah,
so I know that we got 2 more decks coming up, but I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen like a Biogenic Ooze or a Bio-Waste Blob. Like
they're not counter based is the problem. They all make extra oozes, right? But the Slime Against Humanity
that's true. Yeah.
They care specifically about the counters, and it's 2 plus the number of cards you own in exile and in your graveyard that are oozes, and I don't want those oozes in the graveyard if I'm playing them, right? So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't want them out. I want them in the grave or exile. Exile me, Bojuka Bog me. I dare you. Wasted. Go ahead. So yes, the next one is Umori the Collector, which I love. 2 and then hybrid Golgari for a 4/5 ooze. It has companion. We don't care. But as Umori enters the battlefield, choose a card type. It's sorcery. Spells you cast of the chosen type are 1 less to cast. This whole deck is now we're playing sorceries for 1 less, so our slimes are 2 to get going. That's pretty good. The minimum is going to be then a 2 mana to make a 2/2. That's like the floor. And 2 mana to make a 2/2 is pretty good.
To start.
Yeah.
2/2 trample.
To
Right.
start.
Yeah. All right. Sherman, you take us away with the first one here.
First one we have is a Cloud Key for 3 mana. It's an artifact. As Cloud Key enters the battlefield, choose artifact, creatures, enchantment, instance, or the key one here, sorcery.
Nah, we're
Spells
definitely
you
doing creatures.
cast of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast.
1 mana oozes? Could it be done?
You're making me bashful here. The next card that we have is our Elemental Bonds, 2 and a green enchantment. Whenever a creature with power 3 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card.
Yeah. Brian, you're all out of order. Slothy. I'll take Farseek. So you search for a plain island, swamp, mountain, blah, blah, blah. You guys get it. It's getting one of the tap duels. Slothy, you take green slime and get us back into where we need to be.
Sure. Yeah, we've got green slime. 2 and a green for a 2/2 ooze with flash. When green slime enters the battlefield, counter target trigger or activated or triggered ability from an artifact or enchantment source. If a permanent's ability is countered this way, destroy that permanent. And it's got foretell for a single green.
It's really,
Like,
really
that doesn't look
I
to be
do
having
not-
a good time.
I was just about to say, I don't remember the art for this, but he looks like he's not having a fun day.
It looks painful. Ah!
Telling me that I bought the wrong lube.
Sheesh, Brian. Calm down today.
Brian.
After dark. Yes, okay. Brian, you jump in now on the next one.
It could be I'm putting on a swimsuit and I gotta make sure that it's nice.
What kind of swimsuit are you wearing?
Oh, like the full body piece. You gotta make sure that you. Never mind, you guys aren't watching the same stuff.
What are you watching?
Hey, yo, pause.
No, we said pot. Never mind.
All right, Brian, take the next one, please.
All right, let's go to Harmonize. 2 green sorcery. Draw 3 cards.
Pretty good with the cost reduction we've got going on.
Oh yeah, that's only 2 green. That's wonderful.
And then we get Insidious Roots for a black and a green. It's an enchantment. Creature tokens you control have tap to add 1 mana of any color. When 1 or more creature cards leaves your graveyard, create a 0/1 green plant creature token, then put a +1/+1 counter on each plant you control.
The art on this is so great.
I was going to say, I know Slothy likes the art, and that's because it looks like 80% of black metal logos.
Absolutely.
I'm sitting here trying to figure out what band this is playing at what local band this is.
This looks like this could be in Fairy, in my opinion.
True.
Shout out to in Fairy, they play Magic.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. We've got no, sorry, Slothy, you're in the next one. Sorry, I'm out of order now. I'm out of line. Order.
Brian has ruined us.
Get me a gavel.
You're all out of order. You can't handle the truth.
Next one we've got is Inspiring Call. 2 and a green for an instant. Draw a card for each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Those creatures gain indestructible until end of turn.
Solid.
Nice.
We have a Momentous Fall. 2 double green as an additional cost to cast. Sack it. You draw cards equal to the sack creature's power, then gain life equal to its toughness. Pretty good.
Is that an Eldrazi?
I don't know.
What did they take down?
It looks kind of like an Eldrazi. It's got big flying tentacles, so it must be.
Yeah.
I wonder what it was from. Let me see. Its sets are Rise of the Eldrazi. Great eyes, Brian.
Hey.
They took down the flying spaghetti monster.
No, that was my god. Whose turn is it now?
That's
Master
you.
Lords?
That's you, Brian.
All right. So we got Nantuko Shrine, 1 and 2 green for an enchantment. Whenever a player plays a spell, that player puts X/1/1 green squirrel creature tokens into play, where X is the number of cards in all graveyards with the same name as that spell. Oh, now I understand. So we gotta still exile.
Squirrel City.
Gotta exile, so there's none in the graveyard.
Yeah, but again, that's not stopping what we need.
Stopping the squirrels. I don't need you to have oozes and squirrels. That's just madness.
True.
We have Nature's Lore for 1 in the green. Sorcery. Search your library for a forest card. Put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle.
I need so many more of these. I have like 2. And I probably can't go back and buy anymore because Daniel has them all.
No, I didn't get many of the Nature's Lore stuff.
Well, I'm going to go and have a chit chat.
They might be there.
Right.
Yeah, they're an expensive common. $2.79.
Yeah, never mind.
Couldn't imagine paying more than that for a common.
Yeah.
We'll get some rampant growths instead.
Slothy, you're the next one.
No, I need both.
Speaking of expensive commons,
Why is this a $2.79 expense? Oh,
we've got Knight's Whisper. 1 and a black for a sorcery. You draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life.
we truly do need them to make budget masters, like I said the other day.
Pauper Masters?
Yeah, like Nature's Lore shouldn't be that much. Just Nature's Lore, Knight's Whisper, these shouldn't be $3 cards. Why
the
are
Slimes Against Humanity shouldn't be $5.
Why are
It's for the
these
common.
worth more than some of
I've
my
only
rares?
pulled 3 slimes though. Like out of all the packs that I've opened, 3.
Like, why are these worth more than some of my rares? I could, you know what I mean? I can go and crack Commander Masters boosters and crack a Talrand in a $30 pack, or I could just try and get a 1 Slime Against Humanity to triple my profit, or 1 Nature's Whisper. It's pretty gross. The card pricing is all out
I
of
love
order.
how you just mixed up both of those cards.
Nature's Whisper.
Nature's Whisper.
Please, I got
Knight's
Knight's
Lore.
lore going on here.
Don't need to read when you got this many oozes, boys. We have Pact of the Serpent. Read that one just fine. Serpent of Pact. 1 double black. Choose a creature type. Target player draws X cards and loses X life, where X is the number of creatures they control of the chosen type.
Act of the Whisper?
Yeah, Pact of the Whisper. You get it. Read the Serpent.
Then we got the Bones of Reading. 2 and a black for scry 2, then draw 2. Actually, it's a sorcery. It would be 1 black, scry 2, then draw 2, and you lose 2 life. Hey, this card does so much more. Why isn't it like a $3 common?
They probably reprinted again recently.
So
It says here is $1. It's still more expensive than some mythics out there.
Again, if we get to like the next card, the price on the next card is $1.79, and you can't find that card anywhere. The next card is like $1 less than a Knight's Whisper. Sherman, please, that next card.
We have Return of the Wild Speaker for 4 and a green. It's an instant. You get to choose one of these. Either draw cards equal to the greatest power amongst non-human creatures you control, or non-human creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn.
I like that this can just be a nice finisher. You already got Trample built in, so
Nice budget overrun.
yeah.
Then we've got Rishgar's Expertise. 4 double green for a sorcery. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. You may cast a spell with mana value 5 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost.
I'm
I like it. The Rishkars, especially with the reduction, is so great, and we've got big power creatures. I'm so happy.
I would
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I would like to note that this is the same price as Knight's Whisper.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. You can have either a Rishkar's Expertise, or it's like one of those you have $5 pick.
You know what? That would be an awesome. That would be an awesome little episode to do. We have these 2 cards. They both share the same price. Which one are you taking?
I'm so excited that it lined up so that I could take this next one, because you don't get to play this ever. Secret Salvage. 3 double black with a sorcery. Exile a target non-land card from your graveyard, which we don't care about. Search your library for any number of cards with the same name as that card. Reveal them and put it into your hand, then shuffle. That's such a great tutor.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to fetch 15 ooze. And our commander's already reducing the cost of them. The whole deck is like Cloud Key. So a lot of times we're going to be able to 1 mana these off, right? I search for 15. I play 15 oozes. Yikes. Yikes. Someone cracked the dice out.
No. We got next up. We have Semblance Anvil, 3 colorless. It's an artifact. We're going to imprint. When Semblance Anvil enters the battlefield, you may exile a non-land card from your hand. Spells you cast that share a card type with the exiled cards cost 2 less to cast.
Solid.
Ooze.
Then we got Tear Asunder for 1 and a green. It's an instant. It has a kicker for 1 and a black. And you can exile target artifact or enchantment. If the spell was kicked, exile target non-land permanent instead.
Casual $3.50 uncommon.
Boys, this monster looks really angry. He's given whatever it the middle finger.
The prices of this thing are all out of whack. My commons are $3. My commander's 49 cents. What are we doing?
It's opposite day.
right? Yeah, there we go. That's Deck Tech 4. We are cruising through these. And the last one is the most budget of all of them, and one of the coolest ones, I think. We have Wart, the Raid Mother. $26.28 for this little segment here, which is great.
I
Wart,
thought you were talking about the commander. I was like,
no,
what?
Wart also 49 cents. You can buy 7 copies of Wart or One Night's Whisper. I don't know math. Anyways, Wart, the Raid Mother, is 4 colorless, and then hybrid Gruul. 3/3 Goblin Shaman. When Wart, the Raid Mother, enters the battlefield, you create 2/1/1 red and green Goblin Warrior creature tokens. Phenomenal. Little bit of that brings 5 power for 6 mana. That's awesome. Each red or green instant or sorcery spell you cast has Conspire. And Conspire is, as you cast it, you can tap 2 untapped creatures you control that share a color with that. When you do, copy it and you can choose new targets for the copy. So we've got 35 cards that are making us tokens in this deck, and a way to now copy every one of them from the command zone.
I have 70 ooze.
Right? So let's jump into our, again, the most budget portion of it, which I think is actually the best. I think that the Wart version might be the strongest. Brian, take us away with the first one.
We got a bonus round 1 and 2 red sorcery until end of turn. Whenever a player casts a instant or sorcery spell, that player copies it and may choose new targets for the copy. 140.
Which again, we've got our copy creatures right there.
And then we got Cathartic Reunion for 1 in a red sorcery. At an additional cost to cast Cathartic Reunion, discard 2 cards, draw 3.
That's Chandra.
Are we rocking a 2 mana draw 6 that is still not caring about our oozes? That's pretty good.
Then we've got Demand Answers. 1 in a red for an instant. As an additional cost to cast it, sack an artifact or discard a card, and you can draw 2 cards.
In all of these decks.
Going.
Yeah, in all of these, we're getting our double draw because we're using those Wart mothers to get these double up. And that is just silly, just pretty bonkers that we can, because again, the additional cost is part of it. We don't have to pay it a second time. So again, 2 mana, discard 1, which is probably a slime. Who cares? It doesn't matter where they are. Who cares? Who needs them? Right?
Who cares about these slimes?
Yeah, we throw it into the grave. It's still going to help us out. And then we're a 2 mana, discard a slime, draw 4 cards. This is a bonkers amount of draw in this deck. We might need that Thought Vessel for real.
But that's in another list.
Double vision. Yeah, only the green deck draws. Or the blue. Wink. So yeah, we've got our double vision. 3, double red. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, copy it. You can choose new targets for the copy.
You're making so many copies. It's wonderful. You love to see it.
You do love to see it. You do love to see it.
The next one we have is Early Harvest. 1 and 2 green. Target player untaps all basic lands that he or she controls. I've not seen that card before. That's wonderful.
Also, you can politics with this. You can help someone out. And you can still copy it and also untap your stuff too.
Yeah.
That's
right, we got
very
Electric
true.
Revelation for 2 in red. Instant. Additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card. Draw 2. It has flashback for 3 in a red.
And then we've got Faithless Looting. It's a sorcery for a single red. Draw 2, discard 2, and flashback for 2 in a red.
Not the terrible artwork.
Not the terrible artwork. Never the terrible artwork.
I changed it on my screen to the great artwork.
No! Change it back.
Blasphemy!
You monster. We've got Garrick's Uprising, which again isn't, it's not a major great one for us, but I like the card draw. 2 and a green, when it enters, if you control a creature with 4 or greater, draw a card. We normally will. Creatures you control have trample. They already do. Whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters under your control, draw a card. That's kind of what we're doing because we're trying to cast this so many, right? So now we're casting a slime, we're getting 2 slimes. We're casting a slime, we're getting 2 cards, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You got I'm loving it. I'm loving the token creation in this. I'm not going to lie. But you're missing some like doubling seasons. No.
Oh no, a doubling season will do nothing. I guess it'll double the 1/1 counters on it, but they'll enter as an extra 0/0. and then
Touche.
die.
Never mind. I retract my statements.
Then they'll die. They'll die, Brian.
What I want to say. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
We have a hull breach. It's a red and a green sorcery. Choose one. Destroy target artifact or destroy target enchantment or destroy target artifact and target enchantment.
That's such a great thing to copy.
Mm-hmm.
Are they crashing the ship into something?
Yeah, the weather
Yeah.
light.
That's what it looks like.
The weather lights. Is that the weather light that's
Yep.
crashing or the predator?
That's the weather light crashing into it.
Ah.
Oh, no, it is the predator. You're right. Reading the flavor text, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Reading the card explains the card,
Yeah.
right?
True. Krovax knows we're coming now, said a grinning sissy. I just said the predator crashing into a stronghold. Okay. Brian just sent the Daniel. We get it.
Knock, knock.
We got Inspired Tinkering for 4 and a red. Sorcery. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards, and then you create 3 treasure tokens.
I've never seen Sherman in a card, but I have now.
This is I could see it. I could see it for sure. Men. For sure, men. What's it called? This is a mana positive spell. If we copy it and stuff, we get 3 treasure tokens, especially if we get like our double vision or other things out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And exiling the top 3 if we don't cast our ooze, as I've mentioned more than once this episode. Who cares? Right? But that's pretty good because every one of these is just, it's giving us the mana to cast the oozes, which then we can copy more and more with our many plentiful oozes. Ooze City.
Nope, didn't do it right.
Ooze City!
There we go.
Slothy?
Next up, we've got Praetor's Council. 5 triple green for sorcery. Return all cards from your graveyard to your hand. Exile Praetor's Council. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game.
Pretty good. Sometimes I like the slimes back.
Slim down.
We have Repeated Reverberation, a great spell to copy. 2 double red. When you cast your next instant or when next you cast an instant or sorcery or activate a loyalty ability, copy that ability twice. You can choose new targets for it. So again, if we copy this and then cast an ooze, we get 4 copies on our 5. Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty great.
You're getting way too much value here, I see. We're getting Seize the Spoils. 2 and a red sorcery. As an additional cost to cast the spell, discard a card. Discard a ooze. Then we draw 2 cards and create a treasure token. Or draw 4, create 2 treasure tokens.
Solid. I think Sherman will like this next card.
Ooh, I do. So it is a Spellweaver Helix. Costs 3 mana, is an artifact. It has imprint. When the Helix comes into play, you may remove 2 target sorcery cards in a single graveyard from the game. I wonder which ones we're picking. When a card is played, if it has the same name as one of the imprinted sorcery cards, you may copy the other and play the copy without paying its mana cost.
That's wicked. Again, we don't care if they're in exile or not. Doesn't matter. Bajuka bug me. I dare you. Do it. Yeah, like it's just the fact that we can, because again, we're just going to pick 2 oozes. They're going to go into that. And then every time we cast an ooze, we just bang off another ooze. That's great.
Phrasing?
Phrasing.
Hey. I'm very happy it lined up this way because I love this card.
Yes.
We've got Thrumming Stone, 5 mana for legendary artifact. Spells you cast have Ripple 4. This is one, and I know why you didn't put it in your
in my everyone.
Have this one. But this is such a good card in decks like this, or the Rats, or Shadowborn Apostles.
Yeah. You can, a lot of...
Phenomenal.
The fun thing about this list is you can move a lot of these. You can basically assemble whatever deck you want out of these lists, right? These are all going to be cards that generally are pretty good. Like Spellweaver Helix in any of the decks is going to work great. Thrumming Stone in any of the decks is going to work great.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to play it like me. You should. You should, because I'm great.
There is no right way to play Commander.
That big ego coming out to play.
I'm a humble man. We've got a Tormenting Voice, 1 in a red as an additional cost. To cast it, you discard a card, draw 2 cards. I really, really like that that ability to just 2 mana, throw a card away, draw 4 cards. That's such a fast hand refill.
1 mana.
No. This isn't that instant and sorcery reduction deck. That was Umori. You're a whole deck tech behind, Brian.
See, there's too many.
Brian's
Yeah, I was going to say this is
the
Brian.
living embodiment of that Psycho Stick song, I Can Only Count to 4.
There you go.
1, 2, 3. The next card that we have is Unexpected Windfall. 2 red. Instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card. Draw 2 cards and create 2 treasure tokens.
Again, a mana positive spell.
And then the last card we have here is going to be a horrible card. Warm Storm Surge for 5 and a red. It's an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target, such as someone's face.
Bonk.
Notably $2 cheaper than Night's Whisper.
Yeah. You can buy more than 5 of these for one slime. That's funny. The card price, it's all crazy. Yeah, that's my lists. I might break them down into individual lists so I can post the 5 lists, but I don't think I'm going to be honest. You guys get it. Make a budget land base. It's not hard. I say as I put duels into everything.
More Savannah and whatnot.
At the 3 CMC spot, we got a total of 73 cards here.
Yeah. Again, it's not this as far as what we normally build. This is $500 to build, and that's a big. I would say this is not budget, but I was going to say I would say it's not a budget list if it was $500. But this is 5 deck lists at $500, and that's pretty good, especially when 200 of them are slimes.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, if you just proxy the slimes over at like Abyss Proxy Shop, for example,
yes,
using code IT99 to get some money off.
There you go.
You can just get a bunch of them for way cheaper.
True.
That's so true.
The another thing that I think is a possible budget option for this is to just find the slime tokens, the 0/0 slime tokens, and just use those in place of the slime against humanities. Just go out and buy like a stack of the tokens, be like, you guys get it. Or you could use the from the flip cards. There's all those things. You could do the flip cards, do an art project, and make yourself like 35 slimes. Like again, the barrier to entry on a $5 common is pretty absurd.
Yeah,
when you need 35 of them.
Well, and like it seems like they're so again common. It's supposed to be a common card that we see. Like even in the newest set that came out, there's that tinkerer guy that makes treasures. Or clues. I can't remember exactly which one. And I think out of all the boxes that I've opened so far, I got 1. Like, how's that a common? That should be a mythic.
Well, the thing is, like, this is a common, and if you only want 1 copy of it, it wouldn't be hard. But everyone who's buying this is buying it in that bulk of multiple playability, right? So every time, if you think any card that's popular is generally a 4 off for if it's a modern staple or something like that, right? You get 4, but this is I want 30 of them. How do you get around 30 of them, right?
But I'm just even saying from pulling like them in a box, it's supposed to be a common card, and they seem to be
okay. But even look at it that way. How many packs are in a box?
36. Okay,
so you'd have to pull a slime against humanity in every pack, basically.
Yeah,
to get enough for a box, right? Even if it's one,
they'll even get 8 of them, who would be better than none.
But this happens every single time they do this, right? They know how to get people to buy packs, right? Because like let's look at all the traditional ones. You have like Shadowborn Apostle. You have Dragon's Approaches. You have the Rats. The Petitioners. Like every single time they do this, they know people are gonna want to make a deck. Where they have as many copies as they can. So they're just treating us like, addicts.
Yeah. They know we want these. Like I said, I fully support proxying in whatever way you can that slime against humanity. Buy 1, be like, hey, this is the card. even if you were to, I would literally accept someone buying one copy of it, and then let's say you're in the Wart deck, I would accept you sleeving up 35 islands and being like, everything that I have that is an island is a Slime Against Humanity. I don't care.
Yep.
I just want to play Magic.
Mhm.
Concur.
But
Kinda
yeah,
set the actual slime aside, and then I have this, cast this.
yeah, it does this. Grow up. I don't want to
Mhm.
spend $180 on a common. 182 if we're buying Night's Whisper. But yeah, that's my Dex techs. There's like I said, I wanted to do this as soon as I saw the Slime Against Humanity. I got so many good suggestions. I'm sorry if you suggested something that I didn't build. There's lots of great other ones. I can only make these guys sit through so many deck techs, right? This would have taken us 5 episodes. This would have been a 5-week excursion. You guys would have been like, oh, another Slime Against Humanity deck. Great.
Oh boy, slimes!
You get all 5 of them at once. You get what you get. But yeah, before we go, I want to know what you guys like think of my lists and what ones you enjoy the most. Brian, please.
I got the feels for the Shalai and Halar, so I really do enjoy that one. But all of them, I can't talk like they're all different, and I love it that way. And I really enjoyed. I knew that I would be waiting to see what you come up with these. I knew you already had an idea for multiples, but I like how you split it out. You had the 35 set aside. They all fit into the one deck that you're looking to play, so it's really easy to maneuver stuff around. So I really enjoy it in that aspect.
Yeah. Sure.
Slothy?
Oh yeah, Slothy.
Yeah, I really like them as well. Slurk and Karark is probably my favorite. I mean, I'm in the process of building a gambling deck with Mr. House.
Yeah, that looks so fun.
So, yeah, I really like the coin flipping stuff. Karark's always been a commander that I really, really enjoy. I also really like the Wart version. Kind of same reason. Wart's a commander that I love, and slimes.
Goblin Spellslinger is pretty cool, right? Like
Yeah.
you never see a red-green Spellslinging deck usually. It's always creatures.
Go big, go
Yeah.
home.
So for all the decks here, this by far the scariest is Shalai and Halar. By far. Like anytime I see someone bring that out, I literally target the commander every single time.
Oh, it's got to go.
You gotta take it out, and that's the thing. Like this deck shows that, like, if you just let it go, you can take 20 to the face. So you have to make Shalai and Halar so expensive that it's difficult for them to bring it out, right?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
you can take so much just passive damage by them playing the rest of the deck with that commander out.
Exactly. Like especially like with like by the time you cast your like 5th slime, right? You're throwing down so many counters that it gets out of control. And then plus the fact that most people will put in like the infinite combos with Shalai and Halar, you have to target it.
Yeah.
But overall, me, I'm budget, so I like the Wart the most.
I like
it's
that
the
one.
most budget. It is the most interactive in my opinion, because you're doubling spells, you're stacking things, you're throwing the slimes into the graveyard so you can hopefully draw more slimes into your hand as well. So it's definitely more interactive, definitely more fun in my opinion, just because you have to tap and untap things constantly.
I definitely thought that you would like this list because you also like to use like the graveyard as a resource, and you love those like loot effects. I know that.
Oh yeah, and like me, like I have Dragon's Approach decks, right? So this is like the same pretty much, but like at the same time, like Slime Against Humanity is so insane just because it cares about the fact that they're in the exile as well.
Yeah,
right.
The fact that you're not hurting yourself to exile is great.
Yeah, like Dragon's Approach is, like you have to have it in the graveyard, and then you exile 5 to grab a dragon, right? And then after that, that's
gone,
it. They're
yeah.
gone. Slimes Against Humanity is like, okay, fine. Like you said, Bajuka Bog me. I don't care. You know, like there's 10
Waste
that
your
go
trigger,
to exile. That's fine.
Well, they just ramp up. They just get better and better, right? My two favorite of the list is for sure the Umori and the Umori and Wart, because again, they're both so different than what the deck normally does, right? Like you don't normally get Golgari spell slinging that's trying to reduce sorcery, right? Like a sorcery matters Golgari deck isn't the typical route that you see Golgari go down, right? As well as like, again, Wart is like just such a fun, there's so many like unexpected payoffs that it's hard to threat assess against a deck like this because again, all I'm doing is like gambling through my hand with this, with the draw 2 cards, throw a card out. But any of those spells that are like pay 3 as an additional cost, discard a card, draw 2, that turning into 4 card draw is pretty insane. Like some of these are like near ancestral recall level ability if you have those to cast out, right? Like we're outdrawing a blue deck in red and not caring about what we throw away. Yeah, I was really, really proud of these lists. I think they're really, really fun. I'm excited to get some.
I could see it. I have to say, I'm really excited to play against some of these.
Yeah, like they just, I think they're just a really cool setup of cards. There's obviously so many good ways to go. Like Rayhan would have been another like really, really fun one. You could have gone like more combinations, like even Rayham and Crom. So you've got like a 4-color version of this deck that would open up a lot more of what you can or can't do and give you like the storm off abilities. Like the 1,000-Year Storm. None of the decks have the ability to 1,000-Year Storm. Arcane Bombardment is so fun to cast. Oh, Arcane Bombardment is just so great. I would love to get that one in the Wart deck as well, but like I said, I try to make them as different as I could, because if I'm bringing you guys 5 deck techs, I can't be like, so anyways, every deck has this, every deck has that, every deck has this. It's still a 60 card list and it's just different commanders. Yeah, like I said, that's it. Well, this one was a little longer than normal, but you got 5 deck techs. What do you want me to say?
We bring you value here. It's Value Town.
Yeah. This is, I'm going to call these, I might call the episode Slime Against Humanity budget decks minus slimes. Yeah. They are
Buy
all,
1, get 5.
Yeah, they are all budget deck minus slimes. And like I said, basically, if you're using them in 5 decks, this is some girl math, I get that. But if you're buying them to use in 5 decks, they're only basically $1 a card.
That's true. That's true.
Right? It's, we get there.
The upfront cost doesn't change.
No, it's a little bit of girl math, Brian. I'm using them. It's like when they go out, it's my wife does it all the time. Like she's like, I'm going to wear this 5 times. So this actually only costs this much money. I returned this. So I actually made $18. Now I've got to spend it. Girl math's wild, Brian. Don't even. The accounting at this household is wild. I'll say that right now. I'll end us there. I would love to know what you guys think. Is there a commander that I should add to this? Because the nice fun thing about this is I can just consistently add to this list. I can make like basically an infinite number of these, especially because I'm sharing my $5 comments between them. So yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think. Join us over on Patreon. Is the best way to support us. You can come and brew these nonsensical decks with me. Like, share, subscribe. It really, really does help us out to see more and more. Like, we can do more content. The more people are listening, the more we can get noticed. We're going to have lots of great gameplay stuff going up. You can find all of it on into99.com. We got some great articles coming out. Thunder was talking about some of those as well. So yeah, we got a lot of cool things going on. And yeah, thank you guys for getting through this big long list with us, because I hope you had fun listening to it, because I had a lot of fun making these ones. So thank you guys. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the gist of it. Give us a 5-star rating, by the way. Come on. I'm bleeding out here.
5 stars or you didn't listen.
Yeah. 5 stars for 5 decks. Come on. That's a star a deck. That's a deal. That's a deal. Yeah. All right. We fade out.